And that's actually where I met a guy that he pulled up in an Aston Martin, and I was like, dude, what do you do? Like, what do I need to do to get one of those cars? And that's who was like, hey, get into real estate, read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I was like 17 or 18 at that time, and I read that book. But then I went to the air duct service, became the top sales in there. He was like, dude, you're making us a lot of money. And I was making a lot of money there. That's when I first actually started seeing some decent money. I think I made like $3,000 one month, and I've never seen that amount of my money in my life. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. This is one of the jobs that I found on Craigslist, and the guy say, meet me outside in a white van. And I was like, whatever.
What the hell?
I just want to make more money. And then went to the dealership. They was like, hey, wait like 3 months until you can sell on your own. I started selling on my own that first month, and I was the top sales the month after.
Nice. Sick.
I was being really competitive. And I think really that's where it starts as far as having this confidence. So anytime someone tells me, hey, I have an opportunity for you, and all it takes is just me getting on the phone or talking to people or sales, I have that confidence, like, I got this. I will outwork you, whatever you bring to the table. That's really that mindset that I have, because I've been outworking people since I was a little kid. So I always had that, that combat sport thing, that whatever mindset.
Right.
Yeah. So that's really where it starts for me. And I mean, I've never had trouble getting girls in school. I don't know if that has something to do with it. I've never had trouble doing that. I guess it's maybe that one dark skinned guy that speaks Spanish is weird, whatever. It was just, I always had some type of advantage. I don't know, but that's really where my confidence comes in. And now that I'm reading all these books, Jonah, now that I'm watching Pace Morby, people like Pace Morby, Jerry Norton, like starting from zero. I mean, Pace Morby the guy went bankrupt on him, and he went, okay, cool. I just made $20,000 a month in cash flow in 4 months. I'm like, okay, this is amazing.
Yep.
And that the belief that I have, like, okay, if I know how to use those tools that he knows, I know I'm going to win. So I have no doubts that I'm going to win. So that's kind of where that goes.
I love that. I like that answer. I think to summarize what you said, or one way to summarize what you said, is think back to what you were into, or like how you acted when you were a kid, or like what you naturally gravitate towards, right?
Yeah.
I think going back to that childhood, you and me are very similar, by the way. I also did boxing, and I do jujitsu now. Like combat sports are kind of like my thing too,
Nice.
which is just very funny. I love that stuff.
I want to get into jujitsu, bro. But yeah,
dude,
go on.
we should talk about that. Jiu-jitsu's, I think maybe Joe Rogan said this. It's like playing chess with dire consequences.
Yeah.
And what's cool about it too is that unlike boxing, you can go all out in training, right? Like you can't go all out in training in boxing. Like you're going to screw somebody up. You got to like be a little lighter.
Yeah.
While like in jiu-jitsu, like worst thing happens, you knock out, but then you wake up like a minute later and you're totally fine.
Yeah.
Getting off topic for a second, 100% a dope sport. I 100% agree in the sense of like, think back to your childhood. Like what were you naturally gravitating towards? And also for me, at least what I think it is too, this might be my personal belief of how to do it is, and it might be just my personal attitude of always, my personal attitude is, if something just sounds super sick to you, that's what you should do. Like if something's like, man, that would be sick to start a real estate business, or that would be sick to do jujitsu, then just go there, go where like your nature is taking you, and don't worry about like anything else. Like when you're doing this business or when you're doing something, like what are you naturally enjoying, right? Like, are you enjoying the sales? Are you enjoying the creating the CRM, right? And like understanding that, I think it's just having that internal pulse of like, what is making me happy in this business? Like which parts am I the happiest? I'm like you in the sense that when I'm I can create a CRM and I force myself to do it because it's necessary. I don't have a business partner. So I'm like, screw it. I have to make this work because I'm going to make this work no matter what. That's 100% happening. I'm just going to have to kind of suffer through making the CRM good enough. And my CRM is pretty fire now, but it was much more painful than getting on the phone with sellers for me. Right. So yeah, like just kind of agreeing and like putting that out there too. So you mentioned like part of the reason that you think you got that confidence was through girls liking you. I think girls didn't like me in high school. They liked me in college, but I think you're flipping the horse and the carriage a little bit. I think the confidence comes before the girls, even if you're a very attractive guy too, right? Like I know why you're like tall, dark, and handsome, right? Like classic. Every girl says that shit,
Thanks, bro.
right? You know, I'm just saying, like if there's any girls in here, type in, put a heart if you think Alejandro's attractive, you know. But but I think the confidence comes first. I think it even did for you, even if you are attractive. Like where do you feel like? Do you feel like it really was just girls, or do you feel like maybe there was something else in your upbringing that also made you confident?
No, man. Definitely it's not just the girls. I mean, that was just part of my journey of finding, thyself. Like, yo, I mean, dude, high school, like we're broke people. Like I had nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, I was getting really attractive females at the time. I'm like, okay, damn. It's
Right.
something about me that's attracting them. So I attracting them. So that's just part of this of the whole confident part. Like, okay, you start getting boosted, and like people come like, dude, you're dating such and such, like from the
Right.
cheerleading team. Like, what? Oh my god. Okay. So I mean, that was just part of it, Jonah. It wasn't, that it wasn't just that. It was just part of it. I mean, again, it goes back to when I was a kid and doing all these sports and just being number one, number one, number one, number one. Like I just don't want to be number two. And it's
Right.
crazy. I didn't grow up too much with a father figure. It's just my mom
Mm-hmm.
and dude, St. Martin, like how we lived in St. Martin and Dominican Republic, it was really bad. Like it was like
Yeah.
poverty, bro. It was so bad. And then we finally got out of that, and then I can't look back. And that's another thing too, Jonah. I think is knowing what being poor looks like
Mm-hmm.
and knowing what having money looks like, that's huge. Because I
Yep.
think a lot of people get into the position where they can make money right off, the jump, and they don't know what poor looks like. So they don't have that fear or that knowing of like what can really happen if you really F this shit up. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
think it's really part of it as well of like why just I stay consistent and keep going. Cause like I look back and it's like, yeah, I'm not going back over there.
I 100% agree with that. Like I grew up in a middle class background, so like I I get what you mean though in the sense of appreciation. There's an appreciation even
Yeah.
I didn't grow up like you did at all. Like I didn't grow up poor whatsoever, but like when I was in the Peace Corps and lived in the compo, like they were really poor, right? Like my house was had a tin roof,
Yeah. Same
no
thing
running
here.
water.
Imagine growing
I
up in
only
that, bro.
I only lived there for 2 years though. You grew up in it. So like it's a completely different situation. But I get in the sense of like having that perspective gives you two things, I think. I think it gives you that appreciation for everything you have in America, especially.
Oh my
Like
God.
just how like, yeah, bro, we can get into that. But like just like how like man, like just by being American, you start at like if it's 1 to 10 levels, you're already at like level 8 just by being in America.
Yeah.
But it also, I've talked about this on every single podcast at this point because I really want to hammer this into people.
Mhm.
I think to be successful, there's really two things: inspiration and desperation. I think
Mm.
you kind of need a little bit of both. So,
Mm.
desperation for you, I can tell already, is that knowing where you came from, not wanting to be in that poverty situation again. Right. For me, it was more like I've got nothing going on. It's either this or be an insurance salesman or some nonsense job that's
Yeah.
going to suck. Right. So, and then inspiration is like the Pace Morbies, Jerry Norton's, and be like, damn, we can do this. So that's my personal philosophy on it for sure. Talk a little bit about like the parent situation, because I'm curious, because I think one of the main reasons why I have my confidence is I had divorced parents, but I didn't have single parents, but they
Yeah.
did a really good job of like knowing, like being like, hey, you're always loved, like you're always going to be loved. There's always somewhere for you to go, no matter like what happens.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how you feel like your parents affected you on your journey in business and real estate.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to give this one to my mom, bro. And I'll get into my stepfather, which was my only father figure that I have. He passed
Mm-hmm.
away prior to the pandemic. But to my mom, she was working night shifts. Like she was working at the casinos in St. Martin. That's really
Mm-hmm.
where the money's at in that island. As far as I know, that's where, because if you go to St. Martin, everywhere you go, there's a casino, casinos, and that's where all the tourists go, to have fun. And she will work overtime, and during the daytime she will have another job. My mom was always working hard. She was always working hard to make sure we have a roof over our head, make sure we have food. And even that, bro, living in St. Martin, that just wasn't enough, man. And she was just always working hard. So it was, it was such a, I guess, just always looking back, it's like, yo, if it wasn't for my mom, I would not be here in America.
Hmm.
And knowing all the steps she went through and knowing everything she went through in life, that was really inspiring to me because it let me know, like, don't take this as a joke, bro. Like, she did
Hmm.
not, worked her ass off for you to come to America and just jack off. Like, that's not what she, did all that for. Like, get
Right.
to work. So when I was 16, I got to work. I came to America when I was 15. And I
Hmm.
tried to work when I was 15, but no one would accept. I was too young. Well, okay,
Right.
cool. But but then also having a father figure, my stepdad, he met my mom in St. Martin. He was Jamaican and Chinese. That was an interesting mix.
Cool
Very,
combo.
yeah, it was very cool. What's funny was, like, dude, it was hilarious. Like, he would speak Jamaican accent perfectly when his mom or his family called him straight Chinese. I'm like, whoa, what just happened? What? So it was just really interesting to see that. And he actually worked at the casino as a manager. He made, decent money. He was driving like Cadillacs. He was driving like those people, like those VIP services, and it was like really nice cars. And I got to driving that as well. And he was kind of giving me feedbacks on how to, stay financially free. Like, hey, if your expenses is this, make sure you're making this, and you can take 20% of that, send it over to your family, etc., and all that good stuff. So I learned from him, and unfortunately he passed away prior to the pandemic. That was like one of the saddest moments of
Sorry, man.
my entire life. Yeah, no problem, man. And yeah, just those type of like situations I went through in life, it was just like, you're on your own. Like, you got to get the shit together. So I
Hmm.
really took that to the heart, and one day I just woke up and, like, I'm done. I stopped partying. I stopped drinking. I got into 75 hard. I started meditating, started reading
Hmm.
books.
Wait, what inspired
I was
that? You said one day. What day and why? Why that day, you think?
That was the day, a few months after my father passed away, and when the whole pandemic thing happened. Because there was this one incident that happened at the dealership. It's so funny. I was in a relationship at the time, and her parents flew from the United Kingdoms to come meet me. And during that time, it was during the whole pandemic thing, and I was supposed to make like 100 phone calls that day, but the power went out at the dealership like 3 times, and I had like 4 customers in the store. So I
Hmm.
managed to get 80 calls, which is, the minimum is 25. So I managed to still get 80 phone calls, and I went to the desk to check out. I think my boss at the time, because he never really messed with me, because I get the job done, but he just stood there past 6 o'clock that day, I guess, waiting for me. And I was supposed to leave at 6 o'clock. Dinner was at 7. It was already 6:30 because I couldn't, make the calls. I'm like, hey, I gotta go. Like, I really have to go. He was like, well, it's either your job or your family.
Oh, that's so
Bro,
freaking freak, dude. Jesus.
I was still such a calm dude back then. Like, I don't know if it triggered, but something just told me, just walk away. And I said, "Thank you, good night." I walked away. Like, I was done.
Nice. Bravo, dude. I'm so glad you did that. Like, I don't want to swear on this, but screw that guy. That's like literally the worst. That is the boss that I will never be. That's the exact opposite of what I want to be as a boss. Anyways, that makes me angry for you.
Yeah, but but there's still a lot of things that I thank him for, man. I mean, that's that situation alone, and I don't think I don't know. I tend to look at the good things in people, and not,
Maybe it was the universe. You never know. Maybe
yeah,
maybe it
maybe,
was the universe telling
maybe
you it's time.
maybe if it wasn't if he didn't say that one statement, I wouldn't be on here with you, Jonah.
True.
I
Like you
probably
never
would have
know.
been in the finance department making $200,000 a year or $300,000 a year, being happy, for whatever reason. But
Right.
I mean, that statement, man, that set it off for me. I'm like, yo, I don't have control of my life. Like,
Right.
this guy gave me 2 choices, and he's right. I only have 2 choices, and I chose my family. And I did, bro. I left. But either way, man, I'm super thankful for that business, for the dealership, because, Jonah, that business alone has helped me structure my business today. Because when I, just watching other people's wholesale operations, I'm like, yo, this is trash, bro. What why do you have
What are you doing?
why do you have me cold calling and closing? I'm a closer. Don't make me cold call, please. Don't tell me to sign contracts. Don't tell me to sell deals. Just give me opportunities to close and I will close them. And that's when I started realizing like, yo, you need to have a system in place. This is how you do this. Is like when I was at the dealership, only thing I my job was to make sure I close deals. Every morning I
Right.
get fed the leads. Why? Because they know I can close them. So when I come to, other wholesale operations and I see how other people work, it's like you're having this acquisition guy, this guy that can close deals, the guy that can, bring money to your company, do all these extra stuff that are non-money activities. Go have an
Mhm.
integration on this thing. Don't bring closers into this. So I have my business structure that way, how I remember at the dealership. So I'm super grateful for that dealership.
That's so true too, like in the sense of I think having those past experiences for you. Like I really like your story because I think you're the most successful person I know who started working for somebody else at the beginning, and I really like how you like learned all those steps because I agree that like people who like most people don't own a business, like they own a job, which is cool and all. Like it's cool. Like I was there at one point where I owned a job, and hey, I it was better than not owning the job. It was better than working for somebody else, but it is interesting like how people learn to scale.
Yeah.
I don't even know, like when I think about myself about how I scaled, it was the same way that I learned how to make the CRM is like, okay, how am I going to do this where I don't go freaking insane? Because having one person who's trying to close, sell deals and do that, I'm like, they're literally going to be me, but worse. I
Hmm.
know you need to separate these, but my question to you is like, how do you feel like somebody should learn how to scale their business? It's going to be a two-parter. It's going to be how do you think you should learn how to scale? This is hard because you learned it from working for somebody else, and maybe that's your
Yeah.
answer. And then when do you scale?
Ooh, man, I think that goes back. It depends on who they are, who you are as a
Mhm.
person, and what type of
Mhm.
belief system you have. Because one of the hardest thing for me was, Jonah, is letting go because no one
Mm.
I knew, like, I had this in my mind, like, no one is gonna do it better than I am. No one. I'm gonna bring people in and they're gonna learn from me and they're still not gonna be good as me. And that was I think that was a really negative way of thinking. And I had to
Mm.
adjust, man, by reading books like, hey, it's okay. You have to let go. They're gonna do
Yep.
mistakes. They're gonna learn. They're gonna cost you money, but if you can have, two people, three people do 30% of what you do or 40% of what you do, like that's when you're going to start scaling. If you can have five people to do 30% of what you do, now your business is starting to scale, right?
Quickly, like for everyone here, basic math of that is 30% times 5 is 150% of what you can do. So just in
Yeah.
case people didn't catch that, because I definitely also have the same thing or had the same thing was like, man, nobody's going to be as good as me. True, but 5 people are going to be better than you
Yes,
if done right.
absolutely. And you're leveraging time. You're leveraging time and you're making sure that you're taking care of these people to help you scale your business. And I'm at the point, Jonah, in my business that I'm not really interested in bringing in people that are wanting to be here for a year. I'm more interested in bringing people that wants to grow with me for years to come and have
Yep.
franchise under me and have, all these scalable departments in the business.
Yep.
Because, bro, I want to go to sleep at night. I don't want to be worried about, oh, this guy's going to leave me in a year. Is it going to happen?
Yep.
Sure. But I want to be in a position where that doesn't bother me.
Yep. 100%. I mean, for me, my requirement is 2 years. And then my goal is to be the best boss you ever had and make you so much
I love
money
that.
that you just are never going to want to leave. And that's
Yeah.
that's my goal for my employees. So my second part of the question, if you're a small business owner, when do you feel like somebody should be like, okay, now let's try to hire some people?
I would say the safest way for people that don't have high risk tolerance like myself is make sure you have, 6 months to a year. I would say a year of reserves that can pay for that person you're going to bring on board. So if it's a closer, sure, it may be commission only. There's some companies that will give you salary like $2,000 a month or something like that, and give you, commission as well. But make sure that you can afford that person, right? When I bring people on board, hey, how much money do you need to make? How much money would you love to make? So those are things I love to understand. And if you have the funds to do that, if you have the resources to bring that person on board, then bring them on board. But don't if you don't have those resources to make sure this person can still feed his family, don't bring them on board. That's a
Gotcha.
really great learning experience. I learned that the hard way. I've been through those mistakes, and I also know what to do now.
Talk about the mistakes a little bit. Like, what do you mean? What mistakes did you make? Because I was about to ask you what did you do? So what happened with you?
Well, for me is I started bringing cold callers like VAs, and this is when my partner was, because at the time I was closing deals for other companies, and my partner was like, "Hey man, we need to bring a VA on board." I'm like, "Man, I'm telling you, like, I don't think that's really what we should do," but we did it anyways. And bro, like, we brought a VA 3 months later, no deal from that VA. We're spending like maybe, I don't know, $2,500 a month. And bro, the freaking bank was starting to dry up. I'm like, yo, this is not cool. And that's kind of when I started delegating. I started finding business partners, or I call them, database partners, JV partners that do have the funds and can afford, 6 months to a year reserve, and bring in leads for me to close. And that's kind of how my business is structured now. I manage, I want to say 10, 15 databases now. And those people are completely hands off most of the time. I would say 95% of them are pretty much hands off.
What do you mean by database?
I don't know if you know Podio. Have you heard of Podio?
Yeah.
So like that's the CRM. They will have the funds to go hire VAs and bring them on board, and then rely on me and my team to close them, do the TC work, and also dispo them.
Sorry, Podio will like manage the VAs? Is that what you're saying?
No. We're using Podio as a CRM, like to centralize all the leads we get from all the databases, if that makes sense.
But what are the databases? That's what I'm asking.
Other people, other people. Like, let's say, Jonah, let's say you have a W-2, and you don't have the time to have your own wholesale operation. But let's say, hey man, I want to take down properties creatively, but I don't have the time to go get on the phone, follow up with these leads. What you would do is you would reach out to me and you would be like, hey, I have the funds and I want to target this market so I can take down properties. Can you and your team close them? And if I don't like them, you can dispo them. We're like, yeah, perfect. Then that's how we work.
You're JVing and they're doing the lead generation, basically.
Right? Exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Cool, my man. Well, all right. So we hit an hour, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I always end the podcast with one last question that I always really like. I want to go back to Alejandro right when he, what were you thinking right when you started your own business? Like when you started your own business, what would you tell yourself knowing everything that you know now? Like what advice would you give yourself to like when you were just starting out? Let's do two of them. Let's do one let's start with the one where you like just started with the job in real estate. And then one where you're starting your own business. Okay. So are you asking what me right now would tell that person when he first started? Exactly. Yep.
Man, I think when I first started working for the other company, I mean, I think he said it perfectly, bro. He said, hey, I can't promise you that you're going to make X amount every month, but I can promise you there's a lot of opportunities. And, but also I would add with what I know now, hey, this is where your freedom is going to be set. That's what I would say back then. Okay. How about when you were starting your business? I would tell them to chill out and slow the heck down. Relax. It's going to take some time, bro. Relax. Bro, when I first started my business, bro, I was popping Adderalls and oh damn. Bro, cold calling. I did not care. I didn't have a plan B. That was it. And if you go back to my real Jonah, like I had maybe 3 weeks, my partner and I had 3 weeks to figure out where the heck we're going to find $3,000 for rent. And I popped that Adderall 15 minutes later. I found that $3,000 and I closed that deal that same day. And it was exactly $3,000. So wait. Talk about that, bro. Like that's crazy story.
Are you telling me if I get a prescription for Adderall, I can make $3,000 in real estate?
Perhaps. Yeah. It depends if you put in the action. Yeah, bro. Bro, I was focused. I was getting on that dialer, bro, just calling, and I was negotiating with both parties, both sellers and the buyer. Dude, listen, I just need to make $3,000 on this deal. Just whatever. This is a good deal. Awesome. Hey, seller, just knock it down $1,000. Hey, buyer, go up $1,000 and let's get this deal. Come on. And then $3,000 came out of that, and that's when we never looked back.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
that's a cool one. I like that, man. That's like a crazy story. Like I feel like so much the universe gives people what they need if they really put in the work and really freaking want it. Like I
I have
love
the
it,
HUD
bro.
statements. If anyone wants proof of that and that they think that story is fake, I have the HUD statements. Call me, text me, DM me on Instagram. I'll
That's
show
so
you.
funny. I love that so much. All right, man. So how can people reach you? What do you need in your business right now? What can people give you? What are you looking for from my audience?
You can find me at my Instagram. That's the best way. It's really Alvarez. I just recently started my YouTube channel. I will be
You got it right
releasing.
there.
Yeah, I will be releasing lots of content of the basics, like how to find buyers and how to get your own wholesale company.
What's your YouTube? How do we find you
It's
on
really
YouTube?
Alvarez. Yeah,
Okay, same
youtube.com/@
thing.
it's really Alvarez. Yeah, that's
Okay.
my YouTube. And what I'm looking for in my business, if anyone's really good with SOPs and putting that stuff together, let me know.
Love it. Awesome. You're using Trainual, right? Or no?
Yeah, I do have Trino. Yeah.
You need to use Trainual for your SOPs, bro. That's
Yeah.
game changer. I'll give you a little bit of advice of like my little thing of learning SOPs
Mhm.
is create them while you need them, because this is going to help you because we have a very similar personality. I can already tell.
Mhm.
SOPs, how with our personality, because you and me, we're never going to sit down at Trainual and start writing out SOPs. We'll go
No.
freaking insane. So here's what you do. All right, I'm gonna spit some knowledge for the visionaries real quick. Here's how you create SOPs as a visionary. As soon as something important comes up, immediately. So let's say you have a seller, or let's say you're in escrow and the seller's trying to back out or something, right? That's when you do the SOP. You click Loom, basically. If you have Loom, I don't know if you know Loom, but let's say for the
I
audience,
love
Loom is
Loom.
basically, love it. Loom is basically a software that lets you record your computer along with your face. So you either do Loom or somehow record yourself, and then you immediately get on the phone and deal with the situation. You then take that recording, go on Trainual, just write like what happens when a seller tries to back out. You
Right.
write that in there. You just put the video in there, maybe write 2 or 3 sentences, and that's good enough, right? You don't have to write it all out. That's what integrators do. What we do as visionaries, just record everything we just did, and then just slap a video on there, and that'll work. That'll still teach people. They don't need it in writing. It's helpful, but you don't need it. So that's my little sauce for you on SOPs. Like as a visionary, that's a one hunt. Don't try to do it while you're not dealing with something. Everything you do while you're dealing with it, record it, and then just throw it into Trainual. Just type out the title and slightly organize it. I guarantee you that's at least how I do SOPs, and it works pretty damn well.
Love it.
That's my advice to you. Yeah, no worries. Anything else? If somebody wants to help you write SOPs, sounds like you're willing to hire them. Sounds like people should follow you guys. His content is cool. He just started a podcast with Sam Singh, Daryl Ellison, and Mindset Marlin. Guys, these are giants in the industry. I've had all 3 of them on, and their podcasts are incredibly dope. They're on the YouTube channel if you guys want to check them out. But these guys are awesome, amazing, cool dudes. You'll close other people's leads, right?
Yeah, I'll close them. Yeah. Why not?
Okay. So like, is there any, like for me, how I do it now is like, I'm like, man, like it has to be like somehow in my buying criteria. So if you give me a cash deal not in California, I'm just not going to do it. So like, what's your buying criteria? Like, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for deals in North Carolina, Tampa, Florida, Dallas, Texas, really all over Texas. We're in South Carolina, Georgia as well. That's where my family's at. So I want to take down lots of properties down there. And I'm pretty much looking for creative deals. I'm not really doing cash deals right now, especially in this market.
Okay.
Trying to get loans out, just high interest.
South Carolina, Georgia. What
North
was the other one?
Carolina,
Or was it,
Tampa,
okay, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Tampa.
Tampa, and Dallas, Texas, and Phoenix too.
Dallas.
I want at least just
Got
one
some
house in
DFW
Phoenix.
and Phoenix, just so
Mm-hmm.
that you got a place to stay when inevitably we're out there again, because that's
Yeah,
literally
bro.
where everything happens.
Right.
Yeah. So these are his markets, guys. Hit him up on Instagram, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Just DM him with a lead. DM him with the 4 pillars. Don't just DM him saying I got a deal. Have the 4 pillars, guys. Have timeline they want to sell, motivation, price, the address, and the condition of the house. Have that stuff ready for him so he's not like, you're not wasting his time. This man is incredibly busy. So don't waste his time, guys. My man, do you have any final words for the audience?
Final words. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for joining us today. I know it's 9 p.m. Eastern, past people's bedtime. Jonah, I truly appreciate you, bro. It was a pleasure to meet you. Met you last year, the premiere. Are you going to be in the premiere this year as well?
No, I'm gonna be in the Dominican. That's where
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
that's
be.
right. That's right, bro.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy. We have to talk about that. Yes,
Dude,
but
we have a lot to. We got a lot to connect on. We got martial arts, we got Dominican, we got real
yeah,
estate. Stay after this. Don't leave once I end the live real quick.
of course, bro. I'll be here. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. If anyone's in the crowd, if they feel like they need some sense of like guidance, I'm here. I would love to do that. I would love to help the best I can. I hop on the phone very often with other students, with other people as well in real estate. That's just something that makes me really happy and I'm really passionate about is help. When people say, "Oh my God, you've helped me do this and do that." Bro, I've watched your videos. You helped me do that. Like that really makes me happy every single morning. Every time I wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm like, why am I doing this again? Okay, cool. Let's keep going.
Yeah,
So,
100%. We got some fans in here who are like thanking you right now. Just want you to know that.
oh, thank you.
And we got somebody shouting out agent outreach, which is my stuff. That's my stuff.
If you're doing agent outreach, I would love to talk to you. I would love to close those deals.
Alejandro, you know that's my thing, right? Do you know that I have a whole Zoom series in sub 2 about agent outreach? If you didn't know that, you really got to stay after the show. That's like that's all I do. I don't do direct to seller anymore.
Wow.
Just FYI. So you and me we're going to have a long conversation after this. Yeah, don't worry about it. But you will talk. And then also you should watch the podcast I did with Daryl and Mike on them. I dropped so many bombs on that. That was the best I've ever done dropping gems that quickly and succinctly. I don't think I've ever done it better than that. But
Daryl, man.
This I need to do, by the way. Joel, subscribe and follow to me, and I guarantee you I'm going to do that. I'm thinking about doing a 10-hour live, just me calling agents and seeing how that goes. I feel like that would be fun. But,
do it, bro. You got it.
It would be fun. I got to just plan out a day to do that. But anyways, so Alejandro, thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you for coming on. This has been amazing. This has been cool. I love how we like really got into it. Guys, next week, I've got one of the Donis brothers on. They're really cool. They're like in multifamily real estate. They're going to be an awesome guest. I'm going to be in the Dominican while I do it. So it's going to be really interesting about how that goes. I got to find internet. I got to find somewhere with some really good internet. I appreciate you guys so much. People on Instagram, if you were watching this on Instagram, tell me how it was. Tell me how it like listened to it. I might post it and like re-listen to it later. But I'm gonna end it there, guys. Next week, 5 p.m. PST. You are all amazing. Like, comment, and subscribe to me. Like, comment, and subscribe to Alejandro. And I will see y'all next week.